You know.
But I was just one thing, guys, that I have to add to this one.
Mhm.
Kuti, you know what, kangati bosa maukitawo zvechirungu. Tikaenda kumashop uko for $1, you know, sometimes you can get my face towels zviri 3. Even ukaenda kunana south, you can get like 6.
Oh yeah,
Are
yeah.
very cheap. I think if you're a person who is organized, buy those things. Kuitirawo vaya vanouya akangana towel. Buy an extra roll-on. Kuitirawo uya asina roll-on. Buy toothbrushes. Keep them. Do chirungu chacho
Kune vane mweya we-togetherness nyari
I
vanovhwa
know.
tiri kuda yako iyoyo yacho.
Every weekend for free towels and toothbrush.
Let's get into legal matters this morning. We're touching on compensation.
All right. So good morning, everybody who's tuned into Legal Matters. Today we're talking about compensation. Compensation is such a big thing. You know, maybe we can talk about kuti compensation. Compensation. It's such a wide term, hey. But maybe if I want to say it colloquially, kana kuti nchanisa street language. Ningangoti compensation is a way of saying sorry. Either a person just anongokupa something chekutadza kuti ndakutadzira, or I've caused you a loss, or it's the court that is forcing the other person kuti ati sorry, you know. So compensation, essentially, if I'm talking in terms of a definition, it's an award which is usually in monetary terms, usually mari. Sorry, mari inenge no shanda stereke kufura sorry mromo chetandit. And that's like an award given for loss caused by someone or a thing belonging to someone. And that is like the basic thing. So kanayo wakuvara, kana watu waluza mari because of something that somebody did, kana watu waluza bahasa because of something somebody did, kana watu wakuvara, whether pabasa, kana watu in a road traffic accident, you are allowed to be compensated for the loss that you will have suffered, right? It can be something, like I'm saying, that the court may actually order kuti iwewe badara, because usually kurwadzwa kwanoitwa iwewe ka unogona kisa imwe value you know, inenge iri very emotional. Let's just take adultery damages.
I was about to say that, you know, I think 2 or 3 days ago, late last week, we had a trending story where a wife sued a side chick for $8,000 for emotional damage or whatever.
I hear kuti she actually sued for maybe up to 30,000. Yeah, akazopiwa, I think in
now please, constitutionally, when we're talking about compensation in this particular context, explain to us, Nyari, what are you in awe of? Because it's your husband that went to this side chick. Why is the side chick paying? She's paying for?
She entertained him.
What if he told me he wasn't married?
aiwaka izvozvo ndozvinozotariswa necourt, you understand, because then that's ignorance. Mnangona kuti look, ndakazviita ndandisingazive akandinyepera, you understand what I mean? And the court is allowed to consider those defenses. But munhu zvake ari kutoti hani mukadzi wako ariko here nhasi uye achinatozviziva kuti mukadzi wacho aripo, you entertained that husband, because dai kwakusina maside chick ari kuentertaina vanhu, mahusbands vaidai vachisara vari pawa vari mumota mavo.
Oyo.
Yeah.
Saka tiri kuti isusu constitutionally, you owe someone compensation emotionally for entertaining their husband.
Them, yes.
And the husband doesn't owe the wife any money, but it's the side chick. Amazing.
And the two shall become one flesh. Murukutariswa is an institution.
Oh wow.
Saka tinotarisa kuti arwadziwa ndiani. And you know what you're asking, Erica, is completely true. I've always said kuti madzimai kaya munombona kids, because because you know what, munhu anoti anorwadziwa, like kana murume nemukadzi, murume wake ne-side chick vachidanana, the enemy is a side chick.
Why is it the side chick? Andombokutsvagira murume wako ndiye akatanga neku-DM ku-Instagram. Now I owe you money. Imagine. So that's one part of compensation that we're looking at. What of maybe if you are playing for a football team and you get injured and then they fire you? What do we call that kind of compensation that's required from the football team?
Okay, so a lot of the times it depends on your contract. And with these my footballers, with tingati chinyi like tennis players, like especially sports people or sports persons who are exposed to injury because of their because of their vocation. Tinototi vanhu ka insure yourself, pana noto insure gumbo rake resoka. I actually remember,
redeemable.
Sorry,
Redeemable insurance.
no, absolutely, because the insurer is actually insuring you kuti, your livelihood is to do with.
I'll ask again.
Yeah.
Redeemable in Zimbabwe.
In Zimbabwe, if you claim it, no, every insurance contract is redeemable, right? As long as it falls within the parameters of what you agreed, right? I know people have insured crazy things, and we're going to talk about insurance.
Yes.
We're going to talk about insurance, I hope, one of these days. But I've heard, I hear kuti Tina, look, disclaimer, I'm not sure how far true this is, but it was famed. It was like famed, kuti Tina insured her legs.
She did have hot legs. I mean, you got to give her that.
And I think, I don't know if Whitney or someone insured their voice. Do you know what I mean?
That.
Yeah, girl.
Imagine that. So we were
Exactly.
talking about the compensation that happens. I guess my question really is lined to in a work setting.
Yeah.
That what kind of compensation am I going to get? Say perhaps I lose my voice and I was on radio.
Right.
Am I owed compensation in that particular juncture? It's probably not the best example, right? But
Probably
yeah.
not. But that's where insurance comes in.
Mhm.
So you know what? The employer has got, and I hope that we can talk. Just last week passed because it was Workers' Day, and
Yeah.
it is, so we should actually really talk about the rights of employees,
Yeah.
right? At some point, the employer has got duties, right, towards you. You have a duty towards them.
Yeah.
So you must be able to show up. You must be able to avail yourself for work, to have the ability to actually work. And the employer has got the duty to give you a job and to remunerate you for it, to pay you for it. And it saka pane zvibozvo kuti vedwe employer adini wake, waluza wo voice ambendo chakaitika.
2 days before.
You see what I mean? Saka kuti kuti hanzi ngandicompensate. Saka that's when insurance companies come in.
Yeah.
Kuti look, it's a no fault plan or policy where I can then just get paid if an eventuality happens without actually blaming the employer, as if employer either say haki. So maybe I can just go on quickly and talk about as a worker, like what you're saying, you can be compensated for unfair loss of office, kuti wangodzingwa basa zvisiri pamutemo, kana kuti at least you must have compensation that gets you to the end of your contract yawanga wasainira. Handiteka injury at work, there's workman's compensation. I hope we can talk about it sometime soon. Sexual harassment,
There's compensation
Oh,
for
yeah,
sexual.
yeah.
Now I do know that there's two different kinds of compensation, direct and indirect. So when it comes to sexual harassment, what kind of compensation is offered in that particular context?
Okay, so we have, maybe I may as well get into what we've got pecuniary loss, okay, and that means somebody has lost money, ndaluza mari nedhiri iri iwewe you didn't provide gonyeti ranga chifanira kundotora zvinhu zvanguko, and then because of that yakaniwa, like direct things, okay, so that's pecuniary loss. Then we've got patrimonial loss.
Patrimonial, okay.
Yes.
I follow that.
Patrimonial loss would be my losses which are directly connected to the which actually happened, like the out of pocket expenses that are suffered because of shinishaitika. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say muno aita car accident, motor vehicle accident, and shikatoonekwa shwa kuti iwewe ndiwanga uchidriver zvisiri izvo. There are medical costs that come with injuries that will have occurred, right? You've got cost of repairs a motor, okay? Those are patrimonial losses. You've got loss of income. Maybe motikari yawandidhumira ndiyo kombi yangu ndo yatiri kushandisa yatakatomira nayo semhuri, so we're losing income because of what you did. And then, so all those direct, we call them special damages, which you can actually prove kutonza receipt. handitika kuti look ndakazobhadhara izvi kana kuti izvi ndo zvakazoitika, right?
Yeah.
And then we have the third one. I've just put them into three, you know. It's not hard and fast. The third one is yatinoti non-patrimonial.
Yeah.
Those are like, okay, these are like indirect or maybe not emotional damages that somebody, and iyo yangoshitaura yai adultery iri kumachini iri kuma emotional kuti shamari watora company yemunhu wangu and you know and wandirwadzisa moyo wangu. So this includes pain and suffering. Okay,
saka munhu asisadiwa akukosta vanhu vakudiwa.
shamari kausingandide siyana neni handitika siyana neni ndirambe ndoziva kuti ndafamba famba kwete zvoda kubalansa usabalansa neni, you know. Anyway, we've got disfigurement. Okay, yekutoti maybe because of arson yakaitwa nemunhu pana munhu akapisa nenge kana kuti just akapisa building kana kuti akaita negligence akasiya live wires ndobva kwaita fire ini ndobva ndazocha or whatever ndobva you know, then there was that disfigurement, especially to do with motor vehicle accidents. Yeah,
someone was telling me that someone was actually encouraging me to go and sue someone who sold me a car, because apparently someone, you can go sue someone if they sell you a dead car and don't tell you. And I went
dead?
Yeah, apparently
driver.
We did actually. So if you can prove that in the certain amount of time, it's a whole conversation.
It's
we
a
can have this one after. Exactly. Yeah.
So you've got the loss of amenities of life. This one is so important, guys. I need to tell you about this. This is usually a person akuvara handiti tongoti akuvara pabasa to the point yekuti iye maybe angari fit and tena ende zvinhu zvachona zvachida kuti zvive very physical, but nekukuvara kwaita, especially vanhu vanenge vasina kupiwa safety protective material kubasa, because there are basic safety, you know, standards that have to be kept nama companies. Saka ndikakuvara maybe ndatozoita blind, and because of that basa rangu rarichitotarisana nekudini riri kutoda maziso, you know. So we say loss of amenities of life, right? Kuti handichakwanise kuita zvimwe zvinhu zvandachifanira kuita, even kana makumbo akatyoka handichakwanise kufamba, handichakwanise kuenda kupark, ndo atoti ma-amenities iwawo. You understand? So this is where you have taken, you've caused me injury. Wanditorawo pane zvinhu zvandaikwanisa kuita handichatokwanisi. I loved jogging, I loved going around to people, but because of disfigurement yandaita handichatokwanisi kana kubuda panze, you know. So usually that one, loss of amenities of life inogona kuclaimiwa ne-an individual akwara wacho, kana kuti it's a family, mudzimai nevana handitika vashaikirwa nababa handiti, and because of that, right, dei baba vedu varipo isusu every week we used to go ku holiday ku Vic Falls, not every week, sorry, every end of year, every other year. And again, you know, we've lost that because wauraya baba vedu muka accident because of your recklessness. You understand what I mean? It's a fact. Dom atoti ma loss of amenities. Kashita amenities trikubvirawo, you know, you know, just what people usually have access to. Zvinonakidza zveupenyu. Upenyu hwanga hauchadini hauchatonakidze. Ehe. Then we're talking of injury to personality. Big one.
Injury to personality. This one is a big one. I think for the past 2 years in Zimbabwe, we've witnessed a lot of socialites trying to take this one up. Injury to personality. So please, in detail.
That one, okay, kuma celebrities, right? In fact, it's not just celebrities, it's public figures. You know, I think there's a difference, Papa, because this is my minister, my celebrity, but my public figures. So these guys are like public figures, and then you've got celebrities. These are people who are politicians. They are people who are influencers. They entirely depend on either a good image that they need to keep, or whatever contained bad image that they are bringing out to people. Because para wari famous for mashura vanotitirawo pa social media.
Particularly that.
Yeah. So essentially, when I have set up an image of myself, and it's not always like a good image, but it can be a contained one. Chero iri bad image ndikuita bad girl, but she controlled. And then somebody comes and they injure that reputation, you know. Like my politicians, I say this with full respect, it's they don't always necessarily depend on having excellent characters, but it is the appearance of excellent characters which is important to them.
The appearance
Of it. So kana munaka isa like tongoti my newspaper articles especially nezvinotaura pasocial media nepa X particularly ndo pari kuitirana vanhu masutsi papapa defamation damages kuti you defamed me. So kana iwe uchitanzi you defamed me, number one, defame means tabvisa from fame tongoti anditi takubvisa kubva pachinzvimbo chawanga uchiremekedzwa and excuse me takudzikisira pasi. So you must actually prove kuti fame yacho yanga iri before we defamed you.
And I think that's where a lot of these cases that we're seeing on social media are losing their weight.
Yes.
Because fame yako yanga iri, you were sitting down and going live on Facebook, and we can't hold that to you as fame. You are a celebrity.
No, you're a celebrity still, because nyaya kuti ndindotodependa neuselebrity hwangu ihwohwo handitika kuti ndimeke mari iwewe ukatondinyudza ka it means you made me lose money. So
I'm
number
really fighting
one,
myself here, Nyari, to not say the wrong things. I'm going to leave this platform to you.
no, but I love these interjections because that makes a lot of sense. And the second thing you have to show is your loss. So we've got 3 losses, right, that you can suffer.
Fame.
We've got not even fame, but generally in compensation, I'm going for whatever compensation you are seeking. We're looking at number one, physical loss. What was the physical loss? And I think that one is easy to prove. And a lot of the physical loss for medical malpractice. You know.
Oh, Nyari, you didn't touch on that. I know someone who bought a house from that compensation. Your medical malpractice. You guys.
Get out.
The doctor did a wrong, what's it called, a prognosis. And from that prognosis, it turns out it wasn't the thing. Then this person was given the wrong medication, and from that he claimed, I couldn't even walk. They gave him money, he bought a house.
Ichocho ndochokwadi, and it's not kuti uri kupuirwa mari utotenge imba. Okay, let's be clear on that. You're just being given compensation to hopefully put you back, like to put you back in the position you would have been had that malpractice not happened. Saka diagnosis yawapiwa haiziyo wapiwa mshonga usiriyo wakubuda mapundu shasoda. So we have to look to, so how did that inconvenience you? Maybe I'm a model, maybe, you know, the medical expenses I had to go through to try and reverse. And then the permanent damages yakazoitika tozogara futi kuma loss of amenities, loss of loss of finances, genuinely kutoti saka and sisina chichandiraramisa because nandri model and I can't model and nobody's gonna hire me, you know. So those are huge, and people normally are a bit loath to go to court for medical malpractice. And I remember, I think like 20 years ago, there was a big case. Some there's a gentleman was I think a gynecologist or whatever, but Angasire Zimbabwe, and he came here and he was using women for experiments.
Yes, I actually saw that documentary. That was ill. That was ill.
That was terrible. And Akatos was so quiet. There were so many people, and a lot of women had died, you know, while he was experimenting. I think Professor Wake, you know.
He was writing a whole book that he was making.
And people were dying.
Nyari, I must ask you, because I think as in a layman way of looking at it, I think when someone speaks of compensation, we always think of it as being monetary.
Yeah.
Is there any other kind of compensation you can go to court for which is not money, if I'm putting it in a simple way?
Sure. So yes, obviously, if you actually look at what people go to court for, you can almost put them in financial and non-financial.
Non-financial being what? Do you ever get a case where someone goes to court to say, you know what, I'm going to sue you, but all I want is an apology to soothe my emotions?
Anyway, enda undochaka kokundoitirwa apology. Ndoshonga wenga ukoti izvo
So if it's not monetary compensation that we're not only looking at monetary compensation. If then we put that down, what else what other kinds of compensation do we then get?
Let me give you an easy example.
Yeah.
An easy example is an interdict, right? Where somebody arikuramba chiya office kwako, it can actually be even under peace order. Munaramba chiya office kwako achishura, you know what I mean? Urudaya na murume wangu haya pambi pano. Sorry. You get what I mean?
That would be interesting.
So even if I'm doing wrong, tongoti shuwa ndudaya na murume wako, and we're not saying kuti we are supporting that, but mundu still anofana kuchengetedzwa dignity yake. Aungamboti uri kuuya uchizoti shasudai uchitaura, that's my private affairs. And you've got,
this is a bit contradicting. So
yeah,
from the start, when we started this conversation, you said that women can sue massage chicks for entertaining their men. So if that wife comes here, Pastor FM on it, we can both be going to Mbare police station right now. Yeah, reporter reporter peace order. Amazing. I mean, Netflix on its own.
No, not even. Dosakatati sue. You see, the court is the one that knows kuti inoenzanisa say. Because panomwa mna ndikashisho chidashira kuti mna tinoda murume wangu ndine defense yoti I didn't know. Anditi ndasingashisiye saka ku court ndo kundobuda nyaya idzodzo. Atikambotaura kuti anzi ngatipedzerane Pastor FM panapa muna chuyachi akapfeka haihiri nesiliti rinosvika pachitaridza kuti pano pana madzimai kanoti ndoya ndikokukumurira sketi aiwa izvozvo bodo. That is offensive. Yeah.
Because of time, we're literally crash coursing through the questions that I'm seeing, and I'm trying to narrow them down into final questions, really and truly. But this one, I'm going to take it as is. Says, can one sue a partner in a relationship if they did not do what they discussed or live up to it? Especially like wasting my time. So let's say you say to me, I'm going to buy you a Benz, Erica. Chato muna August. Maybe I was renting remote. Can I sue the person for not? I guess that's what this question means. Can I sue you for not buying me the new phone? Okay, guys. It's radio, but you get the question.
Yeah, I get the question. So, guys, we can't go into every single individual. Can I sue someone as now so and I expect to just with Havana? And you get what I mean? Like, there's so many things people can sue for. That's why we've got legal parameters. And it number one, you must show the loss that you actually suffered. And you must put a value to it which the court can consider. Okay, and like I'm saying, the losses, you've got physical losses, you've got emotional losses, you've got financial losses. So you'll see even trauma chayo you can sue. But whatever you are going to court for, my dear, you say to court and court is a very serious court. It's got its time, and court inotobvumizwa kumbokuendesa kujere one day kutumboita munhu kwaye, especially if they think you're being in contempt of court. You understand?
For wasting the court's time as well.
For wasting the court's time. The court will actually order costs against you. Kuti badara not only the costs lawyer wako, but badara makosts lawyer uyu waunza court. So you don't just bring matters to court. But let's also not take kuti nyaya dzimwe which are actually serious kuti hadzizi serious. I'll give you two particular examples. Yekutanga, honestly, genuinely, and munhu wauri kusungisa must be the person who was responsible for doing what they should have done. Saka, I think takamboitaura before.
Munhu wakusungisa must be the person
who is responsible for injury yako yawakonzereswa. So tachimbotaura nyaya yekuti compensation against my councils. Kuti guys, part of your job, kumeka sure tapana mapoto, kumeka sure kuti mo pavement buyamu ya amuna anonzi maslabs asipo, so that ndavanda wirambo, ndavanda kuwara, ndavanda chekwa. You get where I'm coming from. So you have suffered a loss. Saka vananga shikoti, hey, bedwe, enda shakaoma Zimbabwe shakaoma hajo. Aiwa Zimbabwe shinakuoma hajo. We must hold people accountable for basa raurifana kudini kuit, because you've got ratepayers' money. What is this supposed to do? You get what I mean? Then you've got number two. I know a case that happened in England where some I think vanhu organized like a soccer match, and vakaita oversubscribed vanhu vakauya kuzowacha soccer, because those places will be full. And the vanenge vaudza kuti stadium haisi kudini high school.
They oversold the stadium capacity.
Yes, and and kana vachitaura capacity yestadium arikubvira the maximum it can hold before it collapses. So it collapsed. You know what I mean? Saka obviously you also had people who came pane vamwe vanga vasitomborimo mustadium acho pana vakakuwara pana vakafa pane vamwe vakasimo but vakazviona saka vakati aiwa vakazviona vari kure vakarohwa nehana zvisingaiti kutofenda chaiko nezvazvichiitika, you know what I mean, and they went to court to sue for trauma kuti pamusoro pezvamuri kufanira kubhadhara izvozvo.
How different is what you're saying to me watching a fight munasaiona mazorodzimo zvochende zvandawana ndarohwa hana.
Yeah,
and I can go and sue for the normal.
Oh please, that's
the same thing.
That's what I'm saying, Kuti. You must know who you are suing. And Kuti, if they had done the and then you must also put a value to your trauma. And so essentially that is, I know our time is almost out. I wanted to talk about this at least before we close. Kuti vanhu variku, you know, variku suwa vanhu for my road traffic accidents. Ndakazvioneni kuti hey, kubhadharisa kuri kuita vanhu hatisi kutombotara vanhu vaenda kukoti erika vana vatoendewo koti vanhu vanongothreatena ngozi.
Please, can you revisit this one so that we can finally go through it? Are you saying road traffic accidents and people don't go to court? So where's this?
I'll give you an example. There was a guy anga achidriva motikari and then kwakune kombi and then he was overtaking a bus. Saka pana mabhazi ayaya anoramba kuovertakwa, pana madrivers vasingade kuovertakwa, anenge achiti iwe uchida kuovertake iye achiwedzera speed. Saka pabva paitawo kombi, pakaita 3 vana soro bhangu. Kombi iri kubvawo uko handitika, saka papane vanhu 3, uyu ari kuovertaka kombi iri uko is oncoming traffic. Kombi wouldn't move from the road, angashamba achiflasha kuti iwe buda muroad. Uyu ari kuzama kuti maybe I can just overtake faster. Uyu webhazi ari kuti haundovertake chino. You understand? Saka pakabva patoita accident this guy ari kudriver nekombi driver. Unfortunately kombi driver died. Saka you can see kuti hapana kana dare raitwa, but murume paindudzaka aitaura kuti ndakabuda mari yakashinga. Number 1, akatora vanhu vese akavaendesa kuchipatara akandobhadhara mahospital bills. Ndiri kuti vanhu vasati vatomboenda kukoti handiti abva abhadhara the full expenses of the funeral, abva areplace kombi approach yakasvikako almost 20,000.
Why was he doing that?
Because vanhu vanotya ngozi.
Because he is in the spiritual ngozi.
Yes.
Oh man, we'll deal with that when you get to heaven. Why must I be spiritual? What?
But that's exactly, do you know what? This is a normal, it's like a norm, Erica, that is happening. You know, in Zimbabwe.
That doesn't stop the ngozi from coming after you anyway.
Andopa damages kuti sorry kumkadzi wacho everything. But ndingoti these are
some
of
me and
these,
tell me he married the wife because this is what was
left.
Oh
come on. So you know what? I think let's do inonzichi. Let's go to court. Tindonatso kundochargewa ma-damages properly. And tisatya kurohwa nahana kunzi manje uyu anokumukira anozokupfukira aiwa sena naizvozvo. So maybe I know we've got 1 minute. Guys, if you want to carry on this conversation, maybe we'll actually carry this on to next week because Shangawanda, and I think there's so many questions, you know, that are coming
through.
There are
so many questions. Yeah, so many questions.
So you can get in touch with me 0774 344 527. Please don't call, please text. And you can come to my WhatsApp page, Advocate Nyari Maposa. You'll find me there as well, X, Advocate Nyari Maposa. You also find me on YouTube, Advocate Nyari Maposa, or just Nyaradzo Maposa. And we can carry on chatting.
Absolutely lovely. Thank you so much. Advocate was speaking there to Advocate Nyari Maposa, Nyaradzo Maposa. And this morning we were touching on compensation. I do hope that you got a couple of nuggets out. I know that the highlight for this morning was that side chicks can be sued. We can take that one home with us. It is straight to the top of the hour. It is 11 o'clock on Star FM, and it's time for the news.